I started watching Welcome to Wrexham last night. And
Yes.
I saw the first episode was a half an hour long. I thought maybe I can get through the whole series.
Munch a couple.
Before I watch a couple, but I've watched 14 episodes. I haven't quite got to the end, but it's so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to? Well, explain what it is for people who haven't seen it. It's on Disney. If
Disney
you're
Plus over
Disney
here.
Plus, if you're in the
Yes.
UK.
Yeah. So Welcome to Wrexham is a documentary about the unlikely takeover of a fifth-tier North Walian football club by two famous Hollywood men, Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, and sporadically you see me, their hapless friend,
Yes.
who is also involved and who kind of slightly got the ball rolling on the whole thing by introducing Rob to the concept of football, and he rewarded me by making me executive director of the football club. Right. So, yeah, a documentary was made about the whole process because it's been very weird and wonderful, and we've been welcomed very, very effusively and kindly by the people of Wrexham, and it has been just bizarre last 2 years of my life that I've been doing this thing.
It's a lovely show. It's a heartwarming show. It's a really interesting show. It sort of doesn't pull its punches either as well. It's like, because it is these two big American superstars coming to where it seems like a weird thing to do. That people are a little bit suspicious that it might be a PR stunt.
Yeah,
we're not quite sure whether maybe Ryan Reynolds is as quiet as behind it to begin with at the beginning. And it goes on this journey, but also we see a lot of non-Hollywood stuff. We see a lot about Wrexham,
which is much more interesting. Yeah. To be completely frank, I mean, the guys have been this incredible engine for the whole thing, and none of it could happen without them. But the thing that's special is the thing that was already there, which was a football club that's completely at the centre of the heart of the town, and is so loved, but was kind of, through no fault of anyone, was slowly kind of declining. It was owned and operated by the fans, and they'd done an amazing job of doing that. But the resources you need to thrive and survive as a football club these days, even in the fifth tier, were too much for a group of people to have a whip round at the end of the season, which was essentially how they would do these build the budget initiatives, and fans would do all sorts of amazing and crazy things and walk from John O'Groats to Land's End and put the money into the budget and things like that. So I'm quite jet lagged. I've lost the thread. I've no idea where I started with that, but it's great.
But it is what I find it interesting amongst many things in it is it's like some rich people. I mean, Ryan Reynolds obviously has made a lot of money as an actor.
He's done well.
And is a businessman, and Rob as well as a fan from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Is that where you
I met Rob through, my wife wrote on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia has written on It's Always Sunny since season 13, which is, they're now on to season 16 or something like that, but they do it quite sporadically. So for the last 5 years or so. And then she created a show called Mythic Quest on Apple TV with Rob, and very sensibly and studiously avoided hiring me to that show in any capacity. But unfortunately for her, they realised on day one of the writer's room, I mean, genuine day one, they were like, right, this is a show all about video games and a video game studio, and particularly a World of Warcraft sort of analogy. And they were like, right, who plays video games? To the 10 writers in the room, and 2 people put their hands up. And they're like, and which one of you guys play World of Warcraft, right? And they were like, no. And my wife was like, oh, God, I know one big shiftless loser that hangs around my house that spends quite a lot of time playing World of Warcraft, or did once. So I got sort of summoned into the office, and initially really was like, come in, bring your laptop, we'll plug it in, show everybody how the game works, and then fuck off. And I was like, okay, fine. And I came in, and of course, then there were loads of questions like, well, what's it? How does this bit work? And how does this bit work? And I came back 3 days in a row, and then eventually they were like, oh, just join the staff. So I got hired as a writer on that, and that's where I met Rob, and that's where Rob became aware of my obsession with football, because I would watch it during our lunch breaks, because I'm a real sociable guy. I would often sit at one end of the table with my laptop open with a Liverpool game on. If it was an 8 p.m. kickoff, that would correspond with our lunch. And he would always kind of make fun of me for watching it. And during this first lockdown, or first time LA went into lockdown, March 2020, we were all exchanging, we all thought we were having 2 weeks off. It was great. It was going to be really fun. We're just going to stay at home, get paid to fuck around and do nothing. And my recommendation to the group thread was the Sunderland Till I Die documentary, which is on Netflix, which is amazing, which does such a brilliant job of explaining, of kind of showing the weird, semi-religious, very cruel nature of being a football fan.
Yeah.
And he watched that, and it was like a light bulb went. He was just like, "Oh, I get it now. I understand why you care about this thing where there are so few points." And I was like, "It's goals, you dud. We don't call them points." And yeah, his weird response to that, because Rob is a maniac, was like, we should buy a soccer team. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds wicked." You bet. And then it didn't go away. He didn't stop saying that for like 2 or 3 days. And then he was like, "I found a brokerage that buys football teams. Which team are we going to buy?" So I started looking around and made a very unscientific matrix of football teams and the pros and cons of them. And Wrexham came out on top. And then he bought a GD football team. And here I am.
I mean, it's nuts. But I think what I was going to say is, when people make so much money that they've got more money than they can ever spend.
Yeah.
Right? Most of them seem to then just try and make more and more money and become billionaires.
Yes.
I don't understand why more people don't do things that are A, a bit crazy, or B, go, hey, if we do this, hey, we might make some more money, but B, will really help out all these people.
It's so fun. It's so rewarding. I completely agree. It's like, the outlay that they have made. Yes, they're put lots of money into the club, and they're still putting lots of money into the club. But they also, what they get out of it is just you can't get from anything else, because you are bringing so much joy and positivity and excitement to a town that, like, historically has been kicked in the nuts over and over again, because it was a big coal mining town and a big steel town and a big brewing town and a big, like, traditional market town. And all of those things kind of went away and were not really replaced very quickly. And so it went through kind of a bit of a rough patch, and the football team was the thing that everybody loved, and that started sort of to decline slightly because of some very unscrupulous previous owners and things, and the fans took it over and saved it. But it's like, you could, rather than, why are you trying to build a rocket to blast your giant sarcophagus into space to do nothing out there that's useful, when for that money can be spent in a way that it will just end is so rewarding. The thing about this has been so amazing for me, and I'm many magnitudes less than the two guys in terms of my contribution to the whole thing, is just how, like, lovely and, like, kind and generous and excited people have been that we're there. It's very nice.
Well, it's really, that's what's terrific about it, and I think it's interesting that it doesn't kind of dodge the issue. Some people are suspicious of them, and maybe rightly so to begin with, or at least you can understand why, that it might be a joke or it might be,
of course,
a passing fancy. But both of them become obsessed with it. But also you see these, I really like the episode. I mean, there's a great episode that's just about how great Wales is, which is fabulous. And that's it's not the same. You can just change the format of this show, and so there's just sometimes
brilliant.
It's sketches, and sometimes it's
They're brilliant communicators and brilliant. They're both incredibly talented people, and they are funny and personable and interesting and interested and all those things in real life. And so their approach to it is quite unusual. They are like, they're less. They don't take themselves very seriously. They take the club very seriously and, like, what we do around there. But they make a lot of fun of themselves, and they play jokes on each other, and they do all these things that, football is very serious. People that are into it, we take it really seriously. We care about it, and sometimes it can be a bit stuffy for that reason. It can be a little bit staid and stale, and no one wants to say. You watch every post-match interview, everyone says the same 5 boring things because they don't want to say anything controversial. Whereas they are like, let's do weird, wild, and wonderful things, which is very fun. And I think the people of Wrexham have been really enjoying it.